My curiosity with you was always, were you fulfilled by being a sidekick? Your words, not mine.
Initially, I left in 2000 because I was not.
And did a sitcom.
And I did a number of sitcoms. And I also knew, yes, I was, there were all different things, but at the question was I unfulfilled? Absolutely. I felt like I had done that for 7 years. I was still young enough. I didn't have any children. I had the flexibility in my life and in my mind to think, yeah, fuck this. I can trade up. And I had seen other people trade up. I had seen like a bunch of guys that I knew and women that I knew, like do something for a while and then hit the market. And especially the Los Angeles end of show business is so childish that if it can't have something for a while, then when it can have it, it's like, I have to have that thing.
It's funny.
So you'd see people like Rob Corddry or, Matt Walsh or all these people like that went, or Steve Carell,
all the Daily Show people
that went through
Colbert,
the Daily Show.
Yeah.
Then, because I was more in touch with things, you would just see like there's all, like I can't tell you how many times like I auditioned to be the best friend of those guys.
Right.
For like Harlan Williams at one point. It's like, or Tom Green, like to be Tom Green's best friend in a movie.
Yeah.
So I knew like I was invisible. Nobody even knew who I was. Then I was visible for 7 years, but no one could really have me. So I knew I could come out here and get something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that first thing that I was worried about. It was like the second or third thing.
Did you have a thing where you said to the show and Conan, like, if this doesn't work, can I come back? Or was it like...
No, it was just, I'm going.
I believe you pushed him down and left, right?
I did. And it's not hard.
No.
It's not hard. He's got like bird bones.
So you weren't fulfilled. And then did you have I didn't realize how good I had it. It was under my nose the whole time.
Well, when he came back to me, when he got the Tonight Show, it was...
So you were off it for 5 years?
No, like 8.
8, great.
Yeah. I think it was like 8 years, yeah.
And your life was better?
There was definitely... yes and no. I mean, I got to see what it was like to, especially like see what it was like to be number one. And I didn't care that much for it. I didn't need it. I didn't get a charge from it. It's nice to be listened to.
Pressure.
It absolutely.
It's a lot of pressure
and a lot of bullshit. A lot of meetings I don't give a flying fuck about.
Yeah.
And it was nice to be listened to. Now, beyond that, that's it. Money, yes. But nice to be able to say, I want it to be this way, and people listen to you. But, I had that at Conan.
Yeah.
Both my first time through and then subsequently.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big draws when I went back, because at the time that and it was really weird because I knew he was going to do the Tonight Show, and that had been like a ticking clock anyway, because it was like a 5-year run up to it.
With a very well drawn up contract. Go ahead.
No holes at all.
Don't look it up.
But he
hired a lawyer from the internet, right? He just went on LegalZoom. Was that his contract with the Tonight Show? Was from LegalZoom? That's crazy.
I can't say.
You should have probably gone to a
I see all these people at Christmas parties. I can't say anything. But there was something where I can't remember exactly, but I had a hunch that he was going to ask me to come back and be on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And it might have been because he said, like, he texted me or you said, hey, are you going to be around tomorrow? I'm going to call you. And there was just like, I bet he's going to ask me,
I had a feeling, yeah.
Well, we talked frequently anyway, so it could have been anything. But when he asked me back, like, I had been in development to do a sketch comedy show for Comedy Central, which I thought, well, come on. I'm so big for my britches. I can get that. That's fucking easy. A Comedy Central...
Sketch on Comedy Central?
Come on.
Take it from me. It's fucking easy.
Yeah. They said no. And after going through this process and I will tell you, I was super proud. It was a fucking funny show. Yeah. And really funny sketches. Just kept writing more and more. They kept saying like, oh, different things. Yeah. And I would have meetings with them where they're like, it's so funny, and oh my God, it keeps getting better, but I don't understand why all these sketches live together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I'm in all of them, mm-hmm. right? Like I'm sort of like the but and and there was like kind of an inventive sort of the throws to it. I don't know, the sort of framework for it was a little interesting and kind of like playing a fake version of myself. And then they said no, and I kept joking with them, saying like, well, what do you want? Do you want me to just do like the bong report and then just like every sketch is about weed? And they went, oh, and then, and I just was like, oh, I get it. Comedy Central wants a sketch comedy show to be kind of about one thing, because shortly after they said no to me, I saw David Alan Grier had the Chocolate News.
Right.
David Alan Grier.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. They kind of want.
What year was this? 02? 01?
No, probably 07.
Oh, it was after.
Yeah. It was later, yeah. Because I had 3 sitcoms. I had Andy Richter Controls the Universe, Quintuplets, which I was just an actor in, and then Andy Barker PI, which is a show that Conan created, or he had the initial idea for. And then Jonathan Groff, not the Broadway Jonathan Groff, who had been head writer on Conan, ran the show. And it was that was my favorite one by far. The cast was great. It was working. Jonathan's one of the best people in the world. It was great to kind of work with Conan kind of tension. I mean, he's sort of dabbled a little in it. But I was in development.
You had a full life. You were living out here, married.
But when
you started having kids.
When he came to me and said, you want to come back? I was like, come back to having an idea on my drive to work and seeing it on TV that night? Oh, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Yes, please.
I told you you'd never last without me.
And I had always been like, I don't want to be Ed McMahon. And then I was like, I guess I'm going to be Ed McMahon. All right, okay. And in that time too, I had 2 kids,
Defend the Ed McMahon lifestyle. Defend that position, because I've never heard there aren't that many sidekicks.
Sure.
Explain to me why you didn't want to be Ed McMahon, and then explain to me why you were like, this is fucking pretty sweet. I mean, you kind of already have, but.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be Ed McMahon because I saw, and it was also the way that role, like there's the host, and then there's the guy that's the announcer or whatever, that's kind of off to the side. That the way that had been played had been like, well, then there's this fucking drunk over here. Yeah. Well, then there's this fat guy. Well, then a dummy over here, And I just was like, I don't want to be that.
A punchline.
And there were times like there were old timers, because in the early days we had a lot of old timers because it was tough to get guests.
Tony Randall.
Yeah, and Larry King, who was very nice to me. Yeah. But Larry King used to do this like something would come up with like stupid. He'd be like, "You mean like this guy?"
Yeah.
And the audience would be like, "Boo! Yeah. No, we don't do that anymore." Yeah. And he'd be puzzled. And then but when we started the show, I realized this can be anything I want it to be. And Conan was generous enough and secure enough. He's not the most secure guy, but he was secure enough to have, like, as I've said, somebody with a similar skill set sit next to him.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of people. Like, I don't know that David Letterman could handle
feel like
having Chris Elliott sit next to him every night.
Yeah, I don't think he would like that at all. Did you feel like would you go into the show? I mean, what would you just go like, I'm going to sit here and be like a sniper and just say funny shit? Or was it like, I'm going to support Conan? Or did you have any kind of plan?
All of that. That's all kind of wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
But also, too, that part got to be the automatic part. Like, like somebody's coming out. I don't know what sometimes I'd know what they're going to talk about, but most of the time I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I like it that way. Mm-hmm. I like to keep it fresh.
You were doing improv before you got
Absolutely.
the job, right?
Yeah, that was my thing. But like there would be times when we'd have bits and that were sort of loose, like the setup or something, or we'd have something at the last minute right before we're going on. And Conan would say, all right, I'll say this and then you'll say what? And I say, you'll find out. And he'd be like, come on, no shit, just tell me. And I'd be like, no, it'll be fine. Like just, but I don't want to say it now. I want to say it out there. So that it's,
Yeah.
But I also, especially, in the early days, I was a writer on the show and expected to keep spots on the grid filled, in addition to being on camera. After a few years, I was kind of like, hey, look, and they're not going to fire me if I don't have 3 bits in every week. So I'm going to lay off on that a little bit.
Yeah, because they can't fire me.
Yeah, because and
that's the human condition. What are you going to do? Fire me? Yeah. I'm on the poster.
Well, I did have. I mean, I knew like if there's an unhappy writer, who's going to know? But if I'm unhappy,
what, you mean a writer?
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
But if I'm unhappy, I'm sitting on the fucking set and the camera's on me. So, I knew like okay, and which all that means is that after a number, and I mean like 3 or 4 years in, I wouldn't stay until midnight. I'd go home at 8. I mean, be like the next 4 hours, I'm probably not going to. I'll just go home. But I was also, and this is to Conan's credit, and the greatest gift he gave me was he made me very much a part of the process of creating the show, of producing the show, of the quality control of the day-to-day, of the triage that you have to do with bits when they're on the floor, and you got to, the show's in an hour and a half, and you got to come up with an ending for something. He very much invited me into that process and into choosing monologue jokes and in just kind of quality control, just general quality control was the biggest part of my day, was being involved in that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then the show would come and it would just be fuck around and have fun,
So you were just sort of like jack of all, like I'll help out over here, I'll say something funny if the guest is whatever. When you guys did desk pieces, you were always really funny.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, and occasionally I would also enjoy, because there would be occasions when I'd get to act. Like I'd get there'd be a bit where I'd really get to act, and that was always fun. Yeah. But then it would go, 3 weeks and there wouldn't be a lot of acting, Yeah. And I used to joke with the stage manager. I would say, if I play my cards right, I don't have to say a fucking word tonight.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody about like even the idea of acting. I just think now the job is just like be multi-purpose funny. Yeah. And it's I'm going to wear a costume. And it's like, are you from the 1800s? Why are you being like this?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I do cartoon voices. Yeah. I'm a game show host. I can do a lot of different stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's an 18-year. How long did you work there?
I was there. It was 11 in this stretch, and then 7 so 18 years total with about 8 or 9 off in between.
Hey, did you like that? Yeah. Did you like it though? You want more? Don't want to work? Would rather watch videos of me grab assing with people? First of all, go up here to subscribe, and then go up here to watch more clips. This is like when the weatherman says there's a high pressure system coming in. I'm not really used to the green screen.